Good morning. Welcome to this week's edition of Sales Guy Unplugged. Today I want to talk about the getting introduced methodology. Why does asking and getting introductions seem so hard for people? Maybe you just don't have the right process or method to go about it. If you can remember who, how, and what, I think you'll have more success. Let's start with who. Who will you ask for help? Start by making a list of your best relationships. Set up a time to meet. And I think if you really want to have success, come prepared with names to make it easier for them to help you. Now, those names can come from a lot of different sources. They could come from a prospect list you already have. Now, your chances that they would know somebody on there, on that alone, aren't as good as this option, which is to take a look at their LinkedIn connections. Identify names and or companies that look like the people that fit your target market. You know, where your products and services really fit the best, where you live. And then simply create a list of 8 or 10 names, place that in front of them, and ask, hey, I'm going to call on these people. I'm supposed to call on these people. This is what I do. These are the people that utilize our services. Who on the list do you know well enough that would take a call from me if you would ask them to? Now be careful, because just because they're on their LinkedIn list, same as with your LinkedIn list, we all don't know everybody quite as well as everyone else. There's a few in there. We're only looking for a couple to get started. How will you ask them? You decide, but I think you need to figure out in advance how you'll make the request. And there's lots of different ways to do it. Some of the ones that are more popular, more familiar for people, is they like to say, Alex, I'm changing the way I'm bringing new customers to my business, and I think you're in a position to help me. And that's where you would interject the list. Or I prepared this list of people that fit a marketing profile of the companies we typically do business with, and I'm wondering who on the list you might recognize. Now, finally, the what. What will you do when you get the names? Well, in other words, how will you contact them to leverage the power of an introduction? So many times, people get names and they sit on them. First and foremost, let me tell you, I don't care what you say, but if you don't say it soon, you lose the power of the introduction. Immediacy is critical, even the same day, whenever possible. Second, I would always ask the person introducing me to contact them and ask them to take my call. Now, we used to ask people to pick up the phone and call them. Seemingly, it's gotten harder and harder to get people to pick up the telephone. So now a rather popular approach is to ask them to send an email and to CC you. That way you know when it's sent. And finally, help your referrer with what to say. And I always ask them to tell them 3 things. First and foremost, please take my call. When Walt calls, take his call. I know it sounds kind of obvious, but I don't leave much to chance in that regard. 2, he's a great guy. I'm not. And 3, if you guys talk and what you talk about doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense to me, it doesn't make sense to talk further, it's okay to say no thanks. Follow that methodology, and I guarantee you'll get more introductions.